the world has always been a place of geopolitical chess, where every move matters, every word carries weight. And now we're witnessing a new chapter unfold, one that could change the course of history. The US has been pressuring Iran, but in response, Iran is no longer backing down. Instead, it's pushing back harder than ever before. Recently, we've seen a significant shift in the balance of power, with dramatic military drills, taunts directed at the US president, and a growing display of military might that's hard to ignore. Tensions are rising, and what's unfolding could alter the geopolitical landscape in ways we've never seen before. Now, before we dive into the details of Iran's bold response, let's take a moment to consider something that's relevant to all of us, especially in today's digital age. As you know, nowadays, the best scope for passive income comes from platforms like YouTube, where you can build long-term income just by uploading videos. Imagine this. You create engaging content, and every view, every like, every share can contribute to a stream of income for years to come. And what if I told you that our entire team could manage and grow your YouTube channel, handling everything from content creation to optimization? That's right. You don't have to lift a finger to start earning consistent passive income. Let us manage your channel and help you build a steady stream of revenue today. It's a no-brainer. In an unexpected and bold move, Iran has initiated joint naval drills with none other than Russia. This isn't just a regular exercise. This is a demonstration of power, a statement to the world that Iran is not intimidated. The drills took place in the strategic waters of the Gulf of Oman and the Caspian Sea, areas where international shipping and military activities intersect, making it a volatile spot. Iran and Russia, two countries often at odds with Western interests, have joined forces to send a clear message. Any attempt to isolate them will only strengthen their resolve. The live-fire drills were a show of force, demonstrating advanced weaponry and military tactics that many believed Iran didn't possess in such abundance. But it wasn't just the drills themselves that made the world sit up and take notice. It was the timing, the fact that these maneuvers were conducted at the same time that tensions were escalating between the US and Iran. The Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway for global oil shipments, was temporarily closed during these drills, creating further disruptions and sending shockwaves throughout global markets. This wasn't just a military exercise, it was a clear sign that Iran was ready to act, ready to challenge any threat head-on, no matter the cost. AS reports from news outlets like AP News made clear, the world's attention is fixed on Iran's every move. The drills, though temporary, mark a dangerous escalation. And if the West thought it could pressure Iran into submission, it quickly became evident that they were wrong. Amidst these military activities, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, issued a defiant response to the US demands. In a powerful speech broadcast to millions, Khamenei rejected the pressure from Washington and turned the tables, mocking President Trump and the American stance. He didn't hold back, taunting the US leader, calling out his administration's policies, and questioning America's global influence. Iran's refusal to bend to US pressure isn't new, but this level of public scorn and resistance has added fuel to an already volatile fire. The rhetoric coming out of Tehran is unapologetic, even mocking. It's not just a rejection of demands, it's a full-scale challenge to the power that the US has long held over the region. The global community watched with bated breath as Khamenei doubled down on his country's stance. This wasn't a diplomatic statement. This was a direct challenge. And the question on everyone's mind now is, what will the US do next? Will this escalate into a full-scale confrontation? If the military drills and the supreme leader's speeches weren't enough to show Iran's defiance, satellite images have surfaced that only add to the growing concerns. Images from commercial satellites have revealed that Iran is reinforcing its missile and nuclear sites, expanding its capabilities at a rapid pace. The images, confirmed by sources from the Times of India, show extensive construction around Iran's nuclear sites, including the Fordow facility, long suspected to be a key part of Iran's nuclear weapons program. These new developments signal a troubling shift in the region. Not only is Iran continuing its nuclear ambitions, but it is doing so with increasing secrecy and rapid development, further destabilizing an already tense situation. The question becomes, how far is Iran willing to go in this game of brinkmanship? Are they preparing for something even more dramatic? It's a chilling thought, and one that has experts and world leaders alike watching Iran's every move with growing concern. But the story doesn't end there. While Iran flexes its military muscles and rejects U.S. demands, the world is responding in its own way. Iranian expatriates and sympathizers around the globe have been holding massive protests in support of the Iranian people and against the U.S. sanctions. These protests, as noted on Wikipedia, are not confined to any one region. They are happening across Europe, North America, and even parts of Asia. These protests aren't just about politics, they're about the people. Iranian citizens, both inside and outside their country, are demanding change. The frustration with their government's policies, particularly in terms of foreign relations, has spurred a new wave of activism. What started as isolated demonstrations in Iran has now become a global movement. The Iranian diaspora, spread out across the world, has found a voice, one that refuses to be silenced. They're calling for a new approach, one that doesn't involve endless confrontations with the West, but one that focuses on internal reforms and a better future for all Iranians. The protests are heart-wrenching, with people taking to the streets in droves, risking it all for a shot at something better. Where does this leave us? The confrontation between the U.S. and Iran is reaching a boiling point, with no clear resolution in sight. Iran's power moves are undeniable. They've shown that they will not back down in the face of U.S. pressure. With military drills, nuclear advancements, and an emboldened rhetoric, Iran is signaling to the world that it is ready to carve its own path. But while Iran seems unwavering, the U.S. is not without its own cards to play. The question is, how far will Washington go? Will it continue to escalate tensions, or will there be a move toward diplomacy? And what role will the international community play in this unfolding drama? As we watch these events unfold in real time, we can only wonder, what will be the next move? Will there be peace, or is this just the beginning of a new chapter in global conflict? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. The world is watching, and history is being written right before our eyes. As we watch this growing tension unfold, the ripple effects of Iran's defiance extend far beyond its borders. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow and strategic waterway, sees a large portion of the world's oil passing through it. Any military action, or even the mere threat of closure, has the power to disrupt global energy markets, sending shockwaves through international economies. Iran's actions in these waters have already caused spikes in global oil prices and triggered a response from neighboring countries and major powers. The international community, especially countries dependent on energy supplies from the Middle East, are caught in the crossfire of this escalating conflict. The U.S. has sought to rally allies against Iran, calling on the United Nations for increased sanctions and diplomatic isolation. However, this pressure has only seemed to strengthen Iran's resolve, pushing it closer to its allies in Russia and China. It's becoming clear that the U.S. is not the only player in this game. The growing alliance between Iran and Russia is deeply concerning for the West. Together, they could challenge U.S. influence in the region and reshape the geopolitical balance. The possibility of a new power bloc, an anti-Western coalition, is something that many had feared for years, and it's starting to take shape. In the past, there have been moments of hope, moments where diplomatic negotiations seemed poised to break through the wall of hostility. But those moments have always been short-lived. Whether it's the failure of the JCPOA or the failed talks after the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, the path to peace has always been fraught with setbacks. Yet, diplomacy remains the only viable solution to prevent this situation from spiraling into something much worse. The global community must work together to pressure both Iran and the U.S. into finding common ground before the military posturing leads to irreversible consequences. As we look ahead, the future remains uncertain. The situation in Iran is one of the most complex geopolitical crises of our time, with global implications that could extend far beyond the Middle East. One thing is clear. The actions and decisions made in the coming months will shape the future of US-Iran relations and possibly the future of global politics. Will Iran continue to assert its independence, building alliances and strengthening its military? Or will the pressure from the US and its allies force Iran to the negotiating table? The answers to these questions are not yet clear, but the stakes have never been higher. The protests, the military drills, the nuclear advancements, each of these developments adds a new layer of complexity to the situation. As the world stands on the edge of this crisis, the question remains, can diplomacy save the day, or are we on the brink of a much larger conflict? Stay tuned, as this is a story that will continue to unfold, and its consequences will be felt for years to come.